Hello everybody, it's me, Kim Lundell here again, and I'm going to be telling the story of Freddie Fazbear's Pizza. I'm not sure if this is right, but I'm going to try doing this, so here we go. Long ago, in the 1980s, there was an old pizza place that was a whole entertainment for children and adults. They had three main characters. Freddie Fazbear. Freddie Fazbear is the first main character. Chica the Chicken as the second main character, and then Bonnie the Bunny for the third main character. This place was slowly going out of business for an old cause that says that there were 5 kids that were last seen here, and they disappeared. With all the characters here, everybody thought it was the characters because they could move. They could move with their metal robots that controlled the puppet's body. As they all performed for young kids and also adults, some people just stared at the puppets. Then here's when I come in. I slowly walked into the building. I slowly walked into Freddie Fazbear's Pizza. It looked like it was slowly decaying. The building was old and rusted. And slowly decaying. I slowly walked in, and there was a sign right next to where the cashier's supposed to be. There was no cashier there. I thought the cashier was on break or something like that. There were some kids in there, but not many. So I read the sign. It had the rules. Certain everyday rules for a place for kids. And then finally it said at the very bottom in very tiny words, these puppets now have metal skeleton bodies in them. Beware. I couldn't even read it, and I was a very good reader, and I could find out very small print, but I couldn't find this printout. This shocked me for a second, and then I just shrugged and I slowly walked into the building. I looked around the corner and I saw the puppets. Then where the main stage was, I looked to the side corner. There was Pirate's Cove. Of this place where my mother went when she was young, there was many kids here, but now there were only few. The 3 main characters were performing on stage. I ignored and I slowly padded over to the Pirate's Cove. I stared at the sign. It said out of order. We'll be back soon. I knew this is where Foxy the Pirate Fox made his performance. I always thought they were better than the main character's performance because he was very well detailed. I gave a loud sigh as I couldn't see my favorite character perform. I knew it went out of business when the myth that he took half of a kid's head and brain off. I totally didn't believe it because there's none. Because as kind as Foxy was to everybody, there's no way he could do that. With as kind as he was, he did have sharp teeth, but there's no way he could do that. It was unbelievable. All the electronics had mucus and blood forming around their eyes. I knew something bad was happening. I knew it at the second I saw it. I looked up at the three main characters. They didn't look as normal as they usually were. Chica's purple eyes were crossed as always, but Chica looked normal as always, as holding a plate of cake in her hand, up at the top of on the stage. Bonnie, on the other hand, didn't look the same. Something made her look different, awkward, not the same. He was acting the same, but he didn't look the same. His beady eyes stared down at her, as always, as it always has every time she came. There were only like 20 to 15 kids in there right now. I was one of them. Then I looked up at Freaddy, looking the same with his small top hat on, holding the small microphone in his paws. I lowered my head in sorrow, hoping that one day Foxy would be back in business after the so-called incident of Bite 87. I couldn't believe it, but I was there, but I saw it happen. I gave a loud sigh and padded back over to the Pirate's Cove. I stared up at the closed curtains, only a bit showing from the bottom. Only a bit opened at the bottom. He's always been my favorite. She gave a loud sigh once more. You know what? I'm gonna miss this old place. But how come they had to bring Foxy out of business? Just because a little girl was messing with him and she got badly hurt. It then shocked her. Badly hurt. They're robots. They don't know any better. They're only robot bones. They're only bones covered with a costume. Nothing more. Okay, once more. I once more gave a loud sigh. Now I'm a little girl that only roams the streets. The only place I can come here for food is here. If I only had known better not to mess with anything. I gave a small chuckle. Oh, Foxy, will you ever be back in business? Some of the kids don't know you, but I know you. You're an amazing pirate. I gave a small grin to the closed curtains. They never opened. She's never noticed them open before. Again, she hasn't seen them open in years. I'm a 13-year-old girl, and I saw the incident. I know you didn't mean it. You were agitated. That little girl didn't. That little girl deserved what she got. I narrowed my eyes at the closed curtains once more. I turned my head, looking back at the main stage. They were this time all looking out into the distance of nowhere. I gave a loud sigh. I slowly padded back to the cashier. He was there. He gave a small grin to me. Hello, young little girl. Hello, young little girl. He smiled at me. Hey, weren't you the girl that was here that saw me in the bite of 87? The cashier questioned me. I stared up at him for a few seconds, and then I finally gave a strict nod. A mad face poisoned A mad face seemed to overcome his friendly gaze. Well then, you must really miss Foxy, don't you? He said while rubbing his hands back and forth as if he was getting dust off of them, but he was really just pretending to. I started, yeah, I gave a small scratch to my head. Is he, ever going to go back in business? I asked with a bit of shake in the tone of my voice. Well, the cashier started, I'm not sure if he will, but one day he will, young girl. I swear he will. I nodded to the polite cashier, and I slowly padded out of Freaddy's Fazbear's Pizzareia. He stopped me before I could completely leave the door. Hey, little girl. I stared back at him. I'm not a little girl, I'm 13. I corrected him with annoyedness in my voice. Do you know the secret behind Foxy? He quickly asked me as I held the door cracked open, as I held the door with my hand almost getting slammed in, but I kept it from doing that. What secret behind Foxy? I snapped back at him. He gave a loud sigh. Never mind. Where are you going anyways? He questioned me again. He gave me another question. I was going home. I snapped back at him, and before he could answer me and question me even more, I got out of the door, my hand still in the door, and I closed it, quickly getting my hand out of the way of the door before it completely closed. I padded home with the memory of Foxy, Pirate Fox in my mind. I remembered what he looked like, his strong his jaws wide open with the patch over his eyes. Usually, his legs made of complete metal and the rusted hook that lay on his arm where his hand should be. He was more of the red color than the usual orange red color of a real fox. His eyes were beautiful, his eyes were amber, and he wore orange pants. He didn't have a tail. I sighed at the memory of seeing my old friend. He didn't know my name, and he didn't even notice I knew. He didn't even notice. I always wondered if he had a secret behind him, and I always wondered what the other main character's secrets were as well. I strayed back to the small restaurant as the roof slowly started to decay and a small chunk fell off and landed on the sidewalk and bounced right into the road. A car quickly ran over it. A car quickly swiveled past it. I knew one day this shop would completely go out of business. When it would, I would be the last customer standing there, right in front of all the electronics, of all the robots, and I would open the curtains to see my old friend Foxy, or they would open for me. Then he would probably come at me. He would probably open his eyes, come at me, and try to forcibly kill me. But I knew I would jerk away quick enough, even though he was a quick one. I would be able to see my friend at the last time. Well, guys, I hope you're enjoying this because this is my first one. I hope you're enjoying it so far because I know I am, and I'm working really hard. So, bye, guys.